everybody. I'm doing a live stream for multiple things because it's live, and secondly, I don't want to do what happened where I did a vlog not on this channel because I didn't create this channel when I was here second to last. I'm at a hotel in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Just more of a respite. Um, and yeah, I guess I can start off with that because a lot of people in my peer group don't have that luxury to go to a hotel because of budget reasons, and sometimes some facilities are like not even considered respite. It's more like crisis center places. It's kind of weird. So I was here. I'm gonna be here till Monday, so I'm here for the weekend. Came on Friday and stayed another night. I started doing this 2 years ago, and part of it was for me to research relocating. It was that was actually my goal for last year. But there's a lot of different little social stories that maybe I'll do tonight. I'm gonna go live this evening at some point, just for random stuff. Just it's kind of like watching a Twitch stream at this point. I brought my voiceover IP phone lab to me. I have 3 and 4 different telephones. My MacBook also acts as I can run so-called virtualization. So I can run a Linux operating system that does voice over IP stuff, and without having to dual boot things or stuff like that. And it takes a sliver of the Intel silicon, the memory to allocate it to run, essentially a PC within a Mac. And this is what that's my entire data center at home is all virtualized, right? You want to run different servers for different things. Well, if you run like 10 different optiplexes, that's going to draw a lot of electricity. So what I typically do is I virtualize. I have a couple servers, and they're really noisy, and they can warm up the basement in the wintertime. But I'm taking a server that is enough that I can run multiple operating systems underneath, right? Because if you have like a sneaky little netbook and you're trying to run like, I don't know, Windows 10 on it with the full specs, that little laptop it will just slow down, right? Or crash for that matter. So you need enough, so let's say you have a server and you have 2 gigs of RAM, another server with another 2 gigs of RAM, and like a single CPU and a single whatever, and you only have a 2-core computer, and you got 6 gigs of RAM. That's gonna slow down everything along with those separate operating systems. It's not emulation. It's not inherently. It's just the ability to take the raw computing power, and you have to have a computer that's capable, the hardware, and then the software you can literally run DOS or Windows 3.1 on modern hardware, but you're running it on a much smaller scale, and stuff like that. But it's not emulation because you don't have to run something on top of it, because if you do the emulation part, the computer will slow down even more. Like, think of what was it, virtual PC Microsoft made for the Mac, where you can run Windows XP and stuff like that. It doesn't run it natively in your computer. It runs a bunch of software on top of the Mac to run it, and you're not going to get the performance because it can't share your hardware and take a USB port if you need to plug something on USB and carve that out and not have it be shared, right? But everything on the internet, in enterprise, um, they are virtualizing. So I actually bought a book that cost me a lot of money from Barnes and Noble. It's good. It's a good book. It's Cyback, so you're paying for the brand. But this is not a technical book. It's called Virtualization: The Essentials, and I needed a refresher, particularly on networking, because I've been using VMware for since the start. My first exposure to VMware was the Fusion app on the Mac to run Windows XP on the Mac, on top of the Mac. And then it taught me, I learned how to run other operating systems and then kind of in turn run it um, on bare server and run Windows Server, Linux underneath it, and then they don't talk to each other. It's just sharing the computer, but it's not like it's boxed, right? Um, I am trying to figure out where, and I don't think it's on here. I was trying to look at the routing tables to see if my Mac Mini is on, and it's not connecting to my server. So I'm VPNing into my house. Okay, so VPNs in the enterprise world is the ability to. Can I switch? No, I cannot. Okay, YouTube. I can't show you my screen. But I have a Cisco AnyConnect, Cisco Adaptive Security Appliance, which I can plug to with my business class internet. And of course, this is a huge selling point. The reason why I need a business class internet is so I can get in from anywhere in the world. Okay, that's the difference between the residential or the consumer and the big business internet, or is the ability to get in. So it's easier to have a static IP address that's an internet public facing static IP address to get in, and so that's how I get in. And so I'm gonna log out to do my good cyber hygiene. Make sure I'm logged out in things that so no one else can get in there, and log out of my AnyConnect session. This took a long time because Comcast does not document how they do things. So it took me about a year and a half. But every time I VPN, I don't share a lot of files because of the internet plan with my cell carrier, which is Verizon. But in terms of me remotely accessing stuff, so I don't have to carry the entire studio or infrastructure with me. So I have a web server to access different things if I need it, but I have to be logged into the VPN to get in it. So that's another thing that a lot of server people don't know, is that you can't just be hosting things wildly on the internet without it being firewalled or through various firewall port forwarding's the consumer equivalent, but you really don't want to be putting well-known stuff on the internet. In fact, I changed the port number to my AnyConnect so it wouldn't get hit. And the script kiddies love to try to test you on your internet connection. And I know for sure when I was using Sophos for a while, there was a lot of attempts to try to get in the network through the default, like controlling the firewall through the public facing IP address. And it's, the port, as I mentioned, is the colon after the URL domain name or IP address. And the colon, like, I'll just say port 80, the web port, that tells the application, whether it's the AnyConnect, a web browser, or an email client, to go to this particular thing. So if it's a website, an internal intranet, port 80, it's gonna it's gonna search for that request. If I don't host email at home, but for example, if I had an email server and I was sending out a message, it would, go to port 25, although that's not the secure port, right? My IP address colon 25, things of that nature. I don't have a lot of visuals in front of me, but but if you have port 80 open, or other well-known ports, they'll try to break in. So one of the best ways to protect yourself, if you do have this special case, you got to make sure that you kind of don't use default settings. You need to make your own default. So I won't obviously tell you the IP address of my house, and I will also not tell you the port number for AnyConnect, because it's a little bit of a scrambled number. So the script kiddies will not know where AnyConnect is. And you gotta check the firewall logs once in a while, but my life gets in the way. But if I knew something really nefarious was lurking in on the network, so I was trying to peek in. Encryption isn't the standard, but again, I'm not transmitting very hypersensitive stuff. I am just accessing it as basically a dashboard, and I can remotely manipulate it. And again, the one that's connected to the Cisco adaptive security appliance is only a few devices. So my iPads and iPhones and other things, they connect to another network, another router. It was really interesting when the Comcast businesswoman was selling. We had to go through another renewal, and she mentioned the internet quality or whatever, and I'm like, well, we have them on separate. We have multiple routers that separates it, so there's no, like when my mother's Netflixing and chilling, Netflix and chill. I'm trying to make it in a verb. And me trying to upload something to YouTube, it doesn't slow each other down, because our internet, I think it's now near a gigabit inbound, roughly. Comcast Business can adjust, throttle it only if other people are using it. I know a lot of people will say it's nefarious, but they guarantee us at least you're gonna get at least something, not like the very low end. I've never in any time in anything, if there's any slow speed, it's on our end, on our equipment. My equipment. My mother has a cheap router. I use OpenWRT for her. She kind of doesn't want things filtered. Okay, so it is firewalled. It's not tied to that static IP address. It's out on the internet. So that's more protected. But with the Cisco ASA, where it's using the Comcast business static IP address, which we pay $20 a month, you could probably cut it, but I don't know if you get a dynamic IP address that kind of refreshes every little bit on the business side. If I can get ingress, it doesn't matter. At least I even if you have static IP and you're not getting in, it kind of helps when you're accessing certain. I have a help desk portal that's out on the wild web, out in the clouds. You can restrict the help desk tool to the IP address that you're based. So it will only allow something that appears to be that IP address out on the internet, not on-prem. So there's different needs. Most small businesses they only have a handful of connected devices. They're not running media servers, telephony servers, which you're going to see later tonight, and other stuff like that. So that's kind of how it works. and it's hard for me to just talk it out without showing you about the different tools. A lot of it's software based, and let me explain this. A lot of it's software based. A lot of it is a handful of hardware, and also very fancy switches, like a Cisco Catalyst. I have a 2960S that I ordered on eBay in the summertime. It's technically no longer supported by Cisco, but eBay. Just, you won't get breached if you don't have the management to kind of configure the switch on the if something's connected to the internet. So if you keep the internet segmented in your local network, no one's gonna, and they have to really get into your network if they really, the bad guys want to do sabotage. But if you have basic, a lot of people that run servers don't really know much about networking. Just ask the Internet Archive. They are I laugh at some of the things that's happening at the Internet Archive. I just find it really laughable. Like, you could tell it's a server guy if there's no, like, basic things that even I, as an autistic, would know better. So it's so yes, the basement is very cluttered with a lot of different equipment. But in reality, there's probably about, I would say, 8 server ports, a couple router ports for like the Cisco routers, a couple to a handful of I'm trying to think too, because I'm looking at, I basically put what goes out to the rest of the house on the odd number ports, which goes up, and anything that's connecting into the infrastructure, the servers, is on the lower ports or the Cisco routers. So I logically have it set up, the stuff that's going around the house is on the odd, and then anything that's going to the servers and stuff like that is on the bottom, even numbered ports. So I have it all kind of set up, so and they're all like separated. Not all of them, but there's a few virtual LANs. So there's a lot of things that are plugged in. There's a few servers, but there's a lot of connectivity. Because remember, when you virtualize it, you could literally run multiple network cards to get multiple IP addresses. So when you check your routing, what is connected, you could have like pages long of IP addresses when it's in reality just 10 virtual machines that have different IP address tables, IP addresses to access the server. So like if I want to get a virtual server, so if I want to go to like a webmin page, I'll have that on an IP address that only I know, and I have to set up on my computer as a static IP address and get into the systems that way. So you don't have to go that far. You could do like access control lists and stuff like that. I'm not really an expert in that. So there's a lot of connectivity, but it's getting proxied through multiple different things at home. There's 2 racks, but it's like I said, it's for redundancy. It's for connecting my mother's, basically her Wi-Fi network, and we are wired at home because you get faster speed, no latency. It's always on, kind of a thing. We, last week, no, it was just Wednesday. The VoIP phones weren't working on the Cisco. So I unplugged my mother from the patch panel to only realize she couldn't get out. I booted her out of her AnyConnect VPN. I'm like, oops, I didn't wait till noon time to knock her out. Oops, because just imagine you're working on a Word document, someone plugs your network cable out, and you lose. Yeah, it can be bad. It was because the Cisco phones were not, they weren't getting an IP address. So then what I did was, in my head, I take out a handful of IP addresses in the network that I don't put in through automatic assigning. That's what that DHCP language comes from. It automatically spits out IP addresses like a ticket to the internet. This one's not connected to the internet, but it's just the phones, and I have it on a separate network again for redundancy and reliability and security. And I just there's two phones in the house that have a static IP address, so it will always connect to that network with that address. It shouldn't clash because I won't have it clash. So if the DHCP craps out, there's always a dedicated link. And if your phone can't connect to the router, the Cisco call manager, then there's something wrong. So there are two phones in the house that are critical to everything else. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. It's just so no one hears the busy signal that's coming from our equipment, not from the phone company. So there's a lot going on. I admit that I'm a multi-dimensional person. So I'll be coming back live about Eastern time this evening. I'm gonna get a bite to eat because it's almost 7. I'm gonna go take a view down the road here. It's a nice place. It's really expensive. And I'll come back live and I'll probably do some sketches so you guys can understand all this kind of stuff that I do. But yeah, the internet is a very complex thing, and it helps when you can explain it outside the usual stuff. And I'll give you a life update, which kind of surprised me. Crushes that really care about you. Yeah, you'll have to wait. I'll come back at about 8 Eastern time. And again, I'll do more of a visual, and you'll see more stuff. And I'll probably keep it short because I don't want to be chewing up. I'm not on the hotel's Wi-Fi. It's like sleep on the bed. I have brought my own sheets for a reason. If you want to know a little bit about security and not get metered internet, like literally, if you have VPN, you gotta go on the upper tier. So I'm like, nah, I'll just use the Verizon network. It works. But I gotta just connect now because I'm gonna take the phone with me out on the field. So see you folks in about an hour, maybe 8:30. Maybe I'll go live when I have a network up and going. So bye.